Let me just start this video by saying that we live in the most ridiculous timeline ever. And I am not really convinced that the story that we're about to talk about is even real. Because it's becoming obvious to me that there is some sort of race war psyop going on. Now, I'm well aware that the media has been pushing anti-white propaganda for years. Not just in the news, but in TV shows, movies, comic books, video games, everywhere. And I also understand that there's a certain level of fatigue setting in. People are getting tired of all of these violent crimes committed by portions of the black community. So these are very real issues that are going on, right? And of course, you have cases like the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case. You have cases like the Graham Hoffman case, the paramedic that was killed in the back of an ambulance while trying to help a patient. So you got a lot of real stories out there that are brewing, but I also feel like there's outside sources that are pouring fuel onto the fire, and I feel like they're almost orchestrating a lot of what's going on here. Now, the story I'm here to talk about is the story about a woman named Shiloh Hendrix. I do believe that's her name, Shiloh Hendrix. Well, Shiloh was at the playground with her toddler, and she got in some sort of incident. Apparently, some kid was, messing with her toddler, stealing from her toddler, stealing from her diaper bag, and she called the kid a bad word, the forbidden word, that no one can say. Unless you're black, then you say it like 4,000 times a day. I always find it funny that the black community, they act so sensitive over a single word, yet it's the most used word in their vocabulary. They listen to songs that are almost exclusively just the N-word. Like some songs are like N-word, 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 3 other lyrics, N-word, N-word, N-word. They listen to this stuff nonstop daily, and then they get mad when they hear someone from another race use the word. But apparently, and I'm not saying I agree with this, I do not think this is okay. I don't think people should go around calling little kids any names, not the N-word, not any other name. There's definitely a better way to handle this situation. But I'm also here to establish the facts and to, I'm not necessarily believing some of the details that have been shared in this case. But anyways, Shiloh apparently called some kid the N-word, and then some guy started recording her, started harassing her. She then repeated the N-word. It's all on video. In fact, I don't know if I could even play this video on this platform, but we're going to go ahead and try real quick. Let's go ahead and try to play the video real quick.
You call him a nigger, the child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the nigger word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my own business. You call him a nigger? Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Fuck you, nigga.
Alright, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a nigger?
Yeah.
The little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, nigger, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
Now, after this video released, the internet did what the internet is going to do. People came together and they doxed Shiloh. She's been getting all types of threats that people are going to kill her, all of this other stuff. They're basically trying to ruin her life. And the internet also dug up information on the guy who recorded her. who turns out to be like a Somalian creepo that's been accused of touching underage kids. So right away, when I'm looking at the story, I'm like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't call a kid the N-word. That's obviously wrong, but it's just a word. So when I'm looking at the story, immediately the story goes from being about a woman that says the N-word to, wait, why is there a Somalian refugee who's accused of touching underage kids? Why is he at the park? Why is there a Somalian refugee who has been accused of touching little kids at the park, videotaping little kids? And I think that's the only logical, appropriate response to this story. Like, yeah, oh man, that woman used the N-word. I'm not saying it's right, it's distasteful, but it's just a word. No one was harmed. Everyone's going to leave okay. No one was stabbed in the chest like what Carmelo did. And I think that the bigger threat at this playground isn't the white mom that's protecting her child. I think it's the Somalian pirate who's been touching little kids who is at the playground for what reason? I don't care if he has kids himself. What you've been accused of, I mean, you shouldn't even have access to your own kids, let alone be hanging out at the park harassing people, videotaping people, right? But the video went ultra mega viral, and now people have raised like over $250,000 for Shiloh. So here we are in America currently. You can stab a white kid in the chest and get around $500-something thousand. Or you could say the N-word at a park and get around $250,000 and still counting. So right now, the race war is being fought through donations. And it's so ridiculous that I really wonder, is this real? Is some of the money that's flowing into Carmelo, some of the money that's flowing into this woman, is it really being raised by regular people? Or are there three-letter agencies involved in this? I'm really questioning things. Like, yeah, I do agree that this could be happening naturally. I'm not trying to deny that it could be happening naturally. But I feel like there's a little push, a little shove. I feel like there's some other hands in the cookie jar, if you will, if that makes sense. And I'm looking at this situation and I'm wondering if it's real because I've seen other situations like this before. Like, my question is, within the next couple of weeks, is Shiloh going to all of a sudden be like a conservative influencer? Is Shiloh going to get a podcast in a couple of weeks? Is Shiloh going to drop her own crypto coin, her own meme coin, cryptocurrency? Because I feel like we've seen stories like this one before that are not natural. Like, this is like the more racist version of the Hawk Tuah girl, right? So I'm looking at this like, is this going to play out like that? Because if that's the case, then I know that this is some type of psyop fake situation, right? But I'm not denying that it could be real. Because a lot of this response that we're seeing to this story is in direct response to what we saw with Carmelo. A lot of people view this as some sort of revenge for Austin Metcalf. Hey, you're going to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to a kid that killed a white kid? We're going to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to this mom who had stuff stolen out of her diaper bag and called some kid the N-word. We're going to go ahead and donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to her. So I understand that this is in direct response to what just happened with Carmelo Anthony. But at the same time, I'm taking a step back and I'm looking and I'm not fully convinced that all of this is natural. Let me just say that. Because we have seen influencers kind of pop up on the scene from similar situations. Like that one lady that was like doing cooking recipes on TikTok, and then she said the N-word and tried to launch a career in like conservative podcasting and stuff. We've seen this playbook used before, so I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm hesitant when it comes to believing that some of this stuff is naturally happening. Let's just put it like that. But the main reason why I made this video is because I'm interested in the truth. Not the truth that I want to hear, not the truth that you want to hear, not the truth that they want to hear, but simply the truth. There is no my truth, there is no your truth. The truth doesn't belong to anyone. There's only one truth. And when I look at this story, I can already tell that there's some false narratives at play here. You see, everyone is saying that Shiloh called a 5-year-old autistic kid the N-word, right? Everyone's saying that it was a 5-year-old autistic kid that was messing around with her child, that was stealing from her child, stealing from her diaper bag, taking things, whatever, right? They all say it was a 5-year-old autistic child. And they say this to make you more sympathetic towards the situation. They say this to demonize Shiloh Hendrix even further, right? It's the same playbook that we always see. Oh, he was a good kid. He didn't do nothing wrong. He's a future scientist, a future astronaut. It's the same playbook that we always see. So when I go into stories like this one, I'm always skeptical about the details because they always try to paint a different picture than what the picture actually is. So everyone's like in an uproar because, oh my God, it was a 5-year-old autistic kid. How dare she say that to an autistic kid, let alone a 5-year-old? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't allow your emotions to get the best of you, if you're not someone that is watching the video with an anti-white lens, and you just watch the video for what it is, in the video, it shows the kid in question, right? In the video, it shows the kid in question, the kid that is supposedly 5 years old and autistic. Now, I want to be clear here. It's not okay to call any kid, regardless of what their age. It's not okay for a grown woman to be calling these kids names. I'm not here because I agree with what Shiloh Hendrix said. I'm here to establish the truth because the truth always matters. So everyone's saying it's a 5-year-old autistic kid, but if you look at the kid in question in the video, this kid right here, tell me how this is a 5-year-old autistic kid. I'll wait. Everyone's running with that story. The kid is literally on the video, but people are running with that story because it makes Shiloh sound even worse. And I'm not saying that it sounds good what she did in the first place, but it makes her look even worse. And it paints out everyone else to be even more of a victim in the situation, right? But when you look at this kid, it's clear as day that this is not some 5-year-old kid. This kid is like 11 or 12 years old, had no business even being at the playground messing around with the little toddlers, right? This kid's like my freaking height. Not my height necessarily, but the kid's like 5'4", right? Like 11 or 12 years old, at the playground on the slide, bothering the toddlers, stealing from little 2 and 3-year-olds that can't even hardly walk themselves. So this whole time they're like, oh my God, how dare she say that to an autistic 5-year-old that doesn't know any better? No, it's like a freaking 12-year-old kid who should be playing with kids his age, but instead he's at a playground for toddlers, messing with toddlers, stealing from toddlers. Should she have called him a bad word? No. But let's not pretend like this is a little 5-year-old autistic kid that didn't know any better and just happened to grab something from Shiloh's kid. No, this is a grown kid that did know better, that was rummaging through her things, stealing things, and treating her son wrong. The camera, they didn't film when the clearly like 11-year-old preteen was out here messing with toddlers and stealing stuff. No, they didn't roll the cameras then. They only let the cameras roll once there was a reaction to it. So all of this, he was a good boy, he was 5, he was autistic. Let's go ahead and shut that shit down, okay? What Shiloh did was wrong. What she said was wrong. Is it kind of ridiculous that people are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for this? Yeah. But is it in response to the ridiculousness of Carmelo raising hundreds of thousands of dollars? Yeah, so I'm not going to cry about Shiloh raising money after what Carmelo just did. And if you're angry and upset about Shiloh raising money and you had nothing to say about Carmelo, then your opinion is null and void and you can go sit your ass down somewhere. But what we're not going to do, at least here on this channel, is we're not going to make a false reality. We're going to stick to the truth. Just like I could say, hey, what Shiloh said was wrong, I can also say that that damn sure was not a 5-year-old kid. That kid is grown as hell and has no business messing around with little 2- and 3-year-olds and actual 5-year-olds. But to take it one step further, I'm not going to sit here and be outraged over a word when there's a freaking person who's accused of touching underage kids hanging out at the park, videotaping people, trying to be a moral authority, okay? Because if there's any outrage here, I think most of it should be placed on the fact that we have Somalian refugees who are touching little kids who are hanging out at public parks. That's where the real anger and frustration and rage should be. That's the real threat. Shiloh and her little baby, they ain't posing no threat to anyone. Maybe she says some words you don't like. Well, I would argue that you do like those words because you use those words on a daily basis. But it's just, things have gotten so damn ridiculous that I'm literally in the middle of making this video and it's mind-boggling that I'm even making this video. Like, this is where we're at in 2025. This is what we're talking about in the year 2025. I thought we were going to be flying around in cars and stuff like that, but here we are, you know, discussing over whether or not this woman was, you know, justified in calling some kid the N-word and hundreds of thousands of dollars raised here, hundreds of thousands of dollars raised there. It's just, things are out of control, and man, it's going to be one hell of a summer if this is what it's going to be like. But regardless of how you feel about this story, I want you guys to understand one thing. The can of worms has been opened. There is no going back from here. Every racially fueled or racially charged story that happens here in America from now on will have a GoFundMe, a Give, Send, Go, or some sort of donation thing attached to it. And from now on, we are going to be watching money wars being waged of which race can raise the most money for this person that did this thing or this person that did that thing. And at the end of the day, it's dangerous what is happening here. It's dangerous when there is an incentive to be hateful towards other people. It's dangerous when you allow someone to raise $500,000 from simply killing a white kid as the people who donate express their hatred for white people. And now, because of that tribal behavior, because of that being allowed, because we were told that that is okay, now you're seeing a response to it. And a lot of people aren't going to like the response, but guess what? The can of worms was opened with Carmelo. So now there's no going back. We're going to see stories like the Carmelo story. We're going to see stories like the Shiloh story. And we're going to see buku's amount of money flying left and right. And I'll be here to talk about it, I guess. But for now, you guys let me know what you think about this down below. If you support the channel, consider donating via Cash App or Super Thanks or support for free by liking the video, sharing the video, and commenting below. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.